I'm Alan Spears with Occupy Democrats, and the MAGA nation is crumbling apart. Yes, in case you have been living under a rock for the past 24 hours, Donald Trump, the former president of the United States, has been found guilty on all 34 charges in his hush money trial. And as you can imagine, he's taking it about as well as a rock to the head, along with the rest of his cult-like followers. Now, over the past few hours, we've seen a wide variety of reactions from the right, ranging from some people just being disappointed and upset and saying, of course, that this is the Democrats' fault and that this is a ploy and their plan and yada, yada, yada. But we've also seen people like Marjorie Taylor Greene give some not-so-veiled threats and seemingly calling to action the far right and the MAGA movement to do something, apparently. It is definitely concerning and absolutely behavior unbecoming of a congressperson, and she should frankly be absolutely ashamed of herself, and if she had any sense, she should probably resign. But that is not likely to happen, and that is not what we are here to talk about today, as in a clip I'm about to show you, Donald Trump is absolutely becoming unhinged. Now, as we all are pretty well aware, telling a lie and having to keep up with that lie and keep the facade going takes a lot of energy, both mentally and physically. And if you're someone like Donald Trump, whose whole world is built and structured around these lies and these fabrications, well, it inevitably takes its toll. And good Lord, is it taking its toll on him clearly, as Trump looks absolutely terrible. It is so clear by just the way he holds himself, his body language, and the look on his face. He knows he knows he is guilty and that he is not above the law, and it is fantastic. This man absolutely deserves every single ounce of guilt and shame and remorse that he can possibly muster. It's the least he can do. This is a man who built his platform around a message of hate, lies, and bigotry, and has spent nearly the past decade just bringing our entire country down into the mud with him. In this clip, I really want you to pay attention to Donald Trump's just absolute nonsensical ramblings that he is just vomiting on the podium. It is so fascinating to watch this liar, this con man's ego and his vanity and this idea that he was above it all just shatter and crumble away. I love that I get to say this now, but take a look at what the convicted felon Donald Trump had to say in one of his most rambling and incoherent speeches at Trump Tower.
Bragg's people protested, and the judge knocked him out, said you can't testify. He actually said you can't testify for anything having to do with the trial. You can say what the federal elections is. Well, that doesn't help. Everybody knows that. But you can't testify. So essentially, he wasn't able to testify. Other people weren't able to testify. But with these people, they were able to use people salacious. By the way, and nothing ever happened. There was no anything. Nothing ever happened, and they know it. But they were as salacious as they could be, and it had nothing to do with the case. But
now, if you felt like your brain was melting about midway through that and were having trouble following what Trump was saying, you're not alone. For far too long, Donald Trump was able to basically get away with anything, consequence-free, or with a minor slap on the wrist. But now, look at him. Look at his face. Look at his hair disheveled. Well, his hair was always disheveled, but it's even worse now. And the way he just holds himself, you can see it. You can see the toll these lies have taken on him. You can see the toll that the knowledge of him being guilty and the knowledge that he is going to suffer consequences, it's weighing on him, as it should. I hope that this felon receives the maximum and most severe punishment and sentencing for his crimes. He has earned it. And not only is Donald Trump's raggedy ass something that's hilarious, watching the Republican Party and their reaction, this party is imploding. And I mean, seriously, what are they going to do? Donald Trump is the Republican nominee for the presidency. Are they going to still run with him? Are they going to try to scramble and find someone to replace him? Or are they going to double down? It's so incredibly fascinating to watch. I mean, we already knew that the Republican Party was pretty fractured with traditional kind of Reagan-era Republicans and now the far-right, the MAGA Republicans. But now with Donald Trump's sentencing being found guilty and with him facing possibly up to 4 years in prison, I don't know what they're going to do. They're the party that constantly drone on and remind you that they're the party of Lincoln, they're the party of Ronald Reagan, they're the party of law and order, but their guy is going to prison. How do they reconcile that? And this is just it. The Republican Party is an absolute dumpster fire right now and are scrambling to try to figure out any semblance of a strategy. Of course, these MAGA Republicans are going to double and triple and quadruple down on Donald Trump, because to do anything else would be recognizing that they were wrong, would be an admission that they sold their souls, that they sold out on everything that they stood for to get reelected, to be in Donald Trump's pocket, to be in the room with the big guy. Well, you all have certainly earned the right to share a cell with Donald Trump. It's a shame that only he's going away. I think over the next few weeks and the next few months, we're going to see the Republican Party absolutely eviscerate each other. There's probably going to be a significant portion of the Republicans that are going to want to run a different candidate for the election. And I know there's going to be the Republicans, of course, that are going to back Donald Trump no matter what and think that he can be the president in prison, I guess. I don't know. I can almost assure you that any Republican that is on the ticket come this November is going to be out for blood, is going to be out for vengeance. Even if they don't entirely support Donald Trump, they're going to use this energy and momentum to tap into the MAGA base to try to get elected over President Biden. And while it is a little unclear right now who's going to be on the ballot come November for the Republican Party, what I can say is that these MAGA Republicans and all of you out there that stood by Donald Trump, even though you knew he was lying, you have reaped what you have sown. The felon Donald Trump is, with a little bit of luck, going to prison at least for a few years. And you all decided to sell your souls to back this man, knowing deep down, as I know many of you knew deep down, that he was pure evil. Regardless of what the Republicans decide to do, it is going to be fascinating to watch. And my only regret is that so many of these other MAGA politicians who have absolutely sold their souls, their principles, and everything they stood for can't go into a prison cell along with Donald Trump. But hey, I'll take what victories I can get. Of course, we still have a little bit of work to do before Donald Trump puts on that orange jumpsuit and steps foot inside of a prison. And there is the possibility, of course, of this going to a retrial. However, for the time being, I think we all should just take this victory and relish in it and watch as the MAGA nation absolutely devours itself. Donald Trump is a loser and a convicted felon now, and for the first time in his life, he has earned exactly what he's gotten.